Welcome to my new series that may or may not be a series that I'm calling Sew and CLO, where we talk about a sewing technique and I tell you how to translate that into CLO. This topic is stay stitching. Stay stitching is something that we should all be doing when we sew. That doesn't mean we always do. But what it is running a straight stitch in the seam allowance of the edge of a pattern in order to keep it from stretching out while you're working. So it usually is about 1/8 of an inch or a few millimeters in order to keep it within the seam allowance so that when you do finish the pattern, the stitch is hidden inside the seam allowance. Usually it's done on necklines or armholes to keep them from stretching out until you finish them, but it can also be done on like the waist of a pant or a skirt until you put the waistband on. We're talking about this stitch here.
In CLO, there are a couple ways to mimic stay stitching, because an unfinished edge in CLO will in fact stretch out just like real life. My favorite way to deal with this is to select the edges you want to stabilize and check elastic on in the property editor. You'll set the elastic ratio to 100%, which just means that it'll hold the edge to 100% of its measurement, or basically keep it as it is.
I usually tell people this is the equivalent of adding Mobilon to your garment. So this method I typically recommend doing on knits.
The other method for stabilizing a pattern edge in CLO is to apply seam tape. This applies a thin strip of interfacing to the pattern edge, or basically the equivalent of seam tape in real life. This one is more effective on a woven. Just like real life, you wouldn't put Mobilon on a woven or seam tape on a knit.
You can use these methods in CLO while you're working to avoid having the pattern stretch out until you're ready to finish the edge. If you don't ever choose to finish the edge, you'll definitely want to do this before assessing the design or fit. And once you do finish the edge, you should probably remove these techniques.